Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. L Dominance, Anthony here. Please remember to like and subscribe, and also please click that notification bell if you're enjoying what you see and if you want to see more. Coming up in today's episode, we have scores and reports and highlights from the Betfred Championship and the Betfred Super League. And we begin today's episode by looking into the Betfred Championship, and we go to Newcastle first of all as the Thunder face Whitehaven on this Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock kickoff. Well, we thought it was going to be a tough ask to begin with, as Newcastle had just come off a defeat to Barrow Raiders, 14 points to 6. While Whitehaven picked up their first win of the season down in London against the London Broncos. And the confidence was with Whitehaven as they went 12-0 up in the first 10 minutes, with tries from Ryan King and Tom Wilkinson, and also Alex Bishop converted the 2 tries. Matty Nichols scored for Thunder in response for a 12 points to 4 scoreline as the try was unconverted. But Newcastle was soon at equal scoring at 12-all, as Sam also scored 2 back-to-back tries. But Newcastle's kicking for the day had so far been off the mark. Craig Mullen gave Newcastle the lead on 32 minutes with an unconverted try for 16 points to 12. And then the seesaw game goes back in Whitehaven's favour after tries from Alex Bishop and Callum Phillips. As Bishop converted all 4 tries, Whitehaven went in at half-time 24 points to 16 up. Unfortunately for Whitehaven, that was the last of their scoring, as Thunder were up to the task in the second half as Halsall for his hat-trick, Mullen again, and 2 tries from Gideon Boafo and a single try from Josh Eaves saw Newcastle nil the visitors. Mullen added 2 conversions in the second half and for Newcastle's second win of the season for a scoreline of Newcastle Thunder 40, Whitehaven 24. In our second game today, we look at Featherstone Rovers, who host the London Broncos. While the Rovers have won their previous 3 games, London were looking to get off the mark and probably were up against it, as they're probably against their toughest opponents this season. And it was Featherstone that opened the scoring, as just short of the 20-minute mark, Brandon Pickers-Gill makes it 3 tries in 3 games, and Craig Gordon added the extras for a 6-0 lead. London fought back as former Rover Dan Pararata bundled over for the try, and City Miss Mocky Drecki added the extras. Apologies if I got the name incorrect. On the 29th minute though, Featherstone fought back once more as Gareth Gale crashed over on the left to the left of the uprights, leaving a simple kick for Hall to make it a 12 points to 6 scoreline. And that's how both teams left this at halftime as halftime approached and arrived. Rovers were in the lead, 12 points to 6. As the game resumed, it was not until the 55th minute that there was any other scoring, as Gale went over for his second try deep in the corner, which Hall was unable to convert this time. London responded not long after, as Oliver Leyland scored a triumph in the 59th minute, which Mocky Drecki was converted for a 16 points to 12 scoreline. But Pickers-Gill got his second, and Hall added a try and 2 more conversions to his name for another Rovers win, which was unfortunate for a London Broncos side not to pick up any points, but a positive as Featherstone went up against full-timers and blew them away. So the score, 30 points to 12 to Featherstone Rovers. So we begin today's Super League highlights with the first game of the day as Hull FC hosted champion St.Helens in an emotional day as the club and fans did their own goodbye to one of Hull's own, Johnny Whiteley, MBE. John William Whiteley, MBE, was born on the 20th of November 1930 and was an English professional rugby league footballer and coach who played his entire career with Hull FC, making over 400 appearances between 1950 and 1965. He also represented Great Britain at international level, winning the Rugby League World Cup with the team in 1954 and again in 1960. He went on to coach both Hull sides and Great Britain between 1970 and 1982. Mr. Whiteley unfortunately passed away this week, aged 91. Rest in power, Johnny Whiteley. So both sides have named their teams, and there is a massive milestone for Danny Houghton, as he has today completed 388 appearances for the club, a club record appearance maker of the Super League era, and a Challenge Cup winning captain as well. So here are the two teams. Home team first, as Jamie Shaw comes into the team instead of the banned Jake Connor. Josh Reynolds and Luke Gale consist of the halfbacks, but most of all it's as you were as of the last game against Wakefield. On the bench, Jack Brown, Joe Lovey-Dewar also starts from the bench after his try-scoring debut at Wakefield. Chris Sarte and Mitiele Vulukapajapani, I'm sorry if I got that naming incorrect, make the bench. For Saints, we see a change at wings as Josh Sims comes into the side, and it's again more as you were, with Wellesby at fullback, Johnny Lomax and Lewis Dodd. Matty Lee's in the front row with Sione Matatia, Joe Batchelor and Morgan Knowles in the back line. James Roby takes up his 9th position, but there's still on the bench is Joey Lussick, Lou McCarthy-Scarsbrook, Curtis Sirinen and Ignatius Passy in a strong, fast-looking bench. So it's Saints that gets on the board first of all, as 9 minutes have gone and the ball is worked out wide as Jackson finds Wellesby and Mark Percival running on the angle goes over for the first try of the game. That is try 100 for Mark Percival as Tommy Makinson extends the lead to 6-0. Before Tommy Makinson adds another 2 for a penalty to make it 8-0, Connor Wynn finds himself in the bin for a dangerous tackle. Here is that Connor Wynn incident. He lifts the legs, which forces Wellesby to go down on his shoulder this time, but it is deemed a yellow card offence. Saints have a scrum deep in Hull's territory and they form up the scrum quick, while Hull are still dithering about. And it's fed from the base of the scrum by Lomax, and Wellesby receives the ball for Josh Sims to get the season off a great Jack Wellesby pass. Makinson adds the extras and it's 14-0 to Saints on the 27th minute. Now for the talking points of the first half, as Saints have got to the last after some good defence and they're kicking from in their own half. The ball goes to Lomax and he pulls up after what looks a very innocuous challenge by Luke Gale. But the referee saw this incident, and so did the video referee, as Luke Gale went in high with his boot on Lomax, catching him. And he had no choice but the referee to send off Luke Gale. And now we're coming up to half time, as on the third tackle, Darcy Lukic is on the ball with James Roby, goes through the hands with Lomax, Wellesby, and out to Sims once more to get his second try of the game. And Saints go in at half time, 20-0 up, and a man in advantage. We come to the second half, and on the last, with 11 minutes gone into the second half, Saints are on the attack and Wellesby goes back around the sides and puts a kick in, which he can chase. And kick chase is always good with Jack Wellesby, and he feels that he's scored. The video referee said that Wellesby got the ball first, but on a few angles it looked like Jamie Shaw got there first, so that try could possibly have not been given, but it was given for Saints, and they're up 24 points to 0, and they make it 26 with the conversion Moran Makinson. Now a bit of sloppy defending from Saints as they get to the last hull and they put a bomb up in the tricky conditions as snow and mud, but Wellesby allows it to drop and Josh Griffin gets on the end of it and powers his way over the line for the first score for Hull FC. Darnell McIntosh adds the extras for Hull and now it's 26 points to 6. Now one that's just about power as Passy comes on the field and breaks through a tackle and gets offload to Sione Metautia, who ducks, dips, dives, spins and slides to the line. I'm not sure how close to the line he was, but the referee gives it. And with Makison's kick, that gives Saints the 32 points to 6 lead as we're coming into the final 14 minutes of the game. With 13 minutes to go, it seems like the Saints are still on the attack as we're on the second tackle, only 40 metres out, and Lewis Dodd breaks the whole line and seems to break Hull's hearts as he goes over for his first try of the season. Atkinson adds the extras and that is the last of the scoring as Saints win their second game of the match, 38 points to 6. So, on to who's my man of the match. Well, it's one player, it's Jack Wellesby. He always seemed to be there and thereabouts when it came to the scoring. And yes, he did score a dubious try himself, but he can't say anything against his talent. He was there to set up Sims for his 2 tries. He scored, like he said, he scored one himself. He also was in hand with the sim binning of Connor Wynn, which set Saints on their sails the right direction. But yeah, there was only one man that I could give this to, and Channel 4 also agreed with me, as Jack Wellesby is the man of the match. Our next game that wasn't covered by any of the TV companies was Hull KR's visit to Huddersfield Giants, and the Giants were buoyed up with Jermaine McGilvray being back in the side and coming back in for Lewis Senior in his wing position, and that seems to be the only change in the side as Tuilola here starts again at fullback. Ennis Senior scoring out on last weekend keeps his place, but there's also Ricky Luatelli as well who comes back into the side. But in the forwards, Hill, Levi and Trout, the McQueen, Jones and Yates all supporting, Barge and Russell again in the halves, as well as the changes as we've mentioned. As for Hull, Will Dagger comes back in at fullback in one of the only changes in the starting lineup, but with the banned Albert Vete, it means that George King comes into the side, while there's a place on the bench for Greg Richards. So it's a one-way first half, but the scoring doesn't start until the 20th minute as Chris McQueen dives over for the opening try of the game. 13 minutes later, Luke Yates dives over directly under the post for 8 points to 0, which Oliver Russell adds to make it 10 points to 0. And just before half-time, 37th minute, Josh Jones adds the 3rd try of the game, which Oliver Russell adds the extras to make it a 16-0 scoreline, and that's how it stays for the first half. With Hull KR just a shadow of the team that they were last season. After the half-time, there was nothing for 7 minutes, but on the 47th minute, Jermaine McGilvray went over for his first try of the season on his return to the side. And then it was a try for Hull KR, as it was Brad Takarangi who got on the end of Jordan Abdul's grubber to get on the scoreboard, which Abdul added the 2 for a 20 points to 6 scoreline. Another try for Hull KR, as it was now Mikey Lewis who kicks a loose ball on from the Giants' 40-metre line to score near the posts. That's 2 for 2 for Mikey Lewis, and Abdul adds his second conversion for a 20 points to 12 scoreline. There was a little bit of an issue as we go after this, as Huddersfield are down to 12 men, as Chris Hill is sin-binned for Huddersfield Giants. That means the last of the scoring does not come until the 79th minute, where Chris McQueen adds his second try of the game, which was converted by Tuilola here for a 26 points to 12 score. So Huddersfield make it 2 wins from 2, and Hull KR, unfortunately, yet to get off the mark. So the final game of the day is Catalans Dragons versus Wakefield Trinity, as both teams are looking to get their first points of the season in their second round game. And here are the starting lineups. As we see for Catalan, there's no changes in the backs, with the pair of Mitchell Pearce and Josh Drinkwater still involved in the first team. But then the front line, due to injuries and bans, you see Jordan Desiree and Mikko Gudamon being the forwards, accompanied by Mickey McAlorum. Matt Whitley, Mike McMeekin and Ben Garcia take up the front row. On the bench though, we have Sam Cassiano, Joe Chan, Tyrone May and Alex Da Costa. For Wakefield Trinity, you see Max Jowett back in his fullback role again, with Tom Johnson, Corey Hall. James Batchelor comes into the centres with Tom Lynham. No Mason Lino still, as Brad Walker and Harry Bowles are in the halves. Tinaru Arona is at forwards with Eddie Batty. Liam Hood also makes his second appearance of the season with Massey Asherts, Jay Pitts and Geordie Crowler finishing up the starting lineup. On the bench, Jai Whitbread from Lee is back on the bench. Liam Kay, who filled in a couple of positions in the last game, is also on the bench, with Yusuf Aydin and Isaac Shaw rounding up the two teams. So here is the game's tries, as the ball is worked quickly for Laguerre to dive over in the corner to get his first try of the season. Catalan back on the attack after the conversion was missed. McAlorum feeds the scrum, but a massive pass by Drinkwater finds Fuad Yaha to go over for the try. Pearce had the extras, but back comes Wakefield, as Batty passes over to Jowett, who kicks for the corner, with the chasers Tom Johnson and Corey Hall, and Johnson gets there first for Wakefield's first try. It's 10-4 at this stage, and Catalan are back close to the line, and it's through the hands again. Drinkwater to Tompkins to Sami Sonilangi, who would have got booed if it was at Wakefield. His decision not to move across to West Yorkshire, and it is 16 points to 4 as the conversion is made again. Back come Wakefield though, once again, as Liam Hood sets up to go left but goes right instead, and the ball goes through the hands and finds his way to Max Jowett, who throws a small dummy and put enough strength to push him through the Catalan halves to make it 16-10 going into half time. And it's a good game, and Wakefield showing their never say die attitude. Into the second half, and after a great drive by Sam Cassiano, we see Michael McAlorum pass the ball onto a rampaging Ben Garcia, who goes over the try line for 20 points to 10. Pearce has the 2, and that makes it 22 points to 10. And Catalans are back in again as a touch by McLaurin sees a penalty being given for interference at the play of the ball for Sam Tompkins to add the 2. Wakefield are back at it again though. 24 points to 10 after another penalty. And the ball is worked out wide to Tom Johnston, who goes over in the corner for Wakefield. But Wakefield never say die, and an interception close to the end of the game by Tom Lynham sees him outstrip the defence in a battle of the Wakefield wingers for the best try of the game, seeing Wakefield add the extras to make the final score 24 points to 22 in the favour of Catalans after they got a big scare from Wakefield. And that's it for another episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe and share this video worldwide, whilst clicking that notification bell for any updates that may be coming your way in the next few days. Tell me what your thoughts are on today's games, as there have been a few that have been kind of bitty. Do you think Luke Gale's sending off should have stood? Or was it just a blatant accident as he was trying to trap the ball, as he said in his social media posts? Tell me what you think of Saints. Are they going to be the dominant force as I think they might be for the season? And who could indeed challenge them? What's happened to Catalans? They're barely getting over the line. Did the lack of forward power be the only issue today? Or were they just poor and still got the lingering effects of that defeat in the grand final? On any of today's parts of the video, please tell me what your thoughts are. But in the meantime, please stay safe, all the best, and I'll see you in the next video.